Dear tyrants, you're losing. I'm sorry, but you are. Freedom is winning. What are you losing? Well, without mincing words, you're losing your desperate attempt to coerce people into surrendering their freedom so you can have control. Your methods of censorship and propaganda attempting to conceal objective truth while fear-mongering about disease and climate so that you can control all who buy into your narrative should now be considered a failed effort. Now, I realize your role requires you to say something like, "We're not doing that." But unfortunately for you, myself, along with countless awakened freedom lovers, are not people who fall prey to your gaslighting. Therefore, we see and know what you're doing, and you're losing. Let me enlighten you a little further. Your past few years of mandates, lockdowns, Nuremberg Code violating rollouts, 24/7 media propaganda, and probably the many years of planning that went into it have failed. You've probably noticed that in the past month or so, seemingly right around the time of your beloved Pfizer's admission at the European Union that they never tested to see if it stops transmission, there's now a second wave of people waking up from your slumber of control. You had them for a couple of years, but now you've lost them. So suck it. And here's what you need to know, tyrants. The new masses who have finally awakened to the reality of what you're doing, we in the freedom-loving community of humanity will not greet them with judgment and ridicule for having been fooled by you, but rather we are and will continue to greet them with open, welcoming arms and compassion for having been fooled by you. And we'll acknowledge that the only reason they had been fooled by you for a little while is because they're good people who temporarily fell prey to your use of weaponized morality. And for the few who still are asleep and will awaken in the days to come, we'll greet them with the same compassion and acceptance. Now, I suspect you'd rather us greet them with disdain and rejection in order to create division within the freedom-loving community, but we won't fall for that because we're not as dumb as you hope we are. We know that divided, freedom falls. But united, freedom stands, and you fall, which you are. Dear tyrants, I want to talk directly to you about you for a moment. We know that some of you have nefarious intentions and are corrupted with evil to your core. So let it be on record that your nefarious intentions are acknowledged. You are criminals attempting to violate people physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. We will not comply in any way with your nefarious intentions because we are a free people who claim our birthright of being born into our God-given state of freedom. Period. And I also acknowledge that some of you tyrants probably have earnest intentions that happen to come with nefarious outcomes. I fully acknowledge that. Though some of you are objectively evil, some of you are not. And if you're a tyrant who is not objectively evil, then what you are is a useful idiot. And that's not meant to be an insult. It's meant to be an accurate description of the role you're in. And if this is you, it means you yourself have been being used and deceived by the objectively evil tyrants into doing their bidding. And along with them being more evil than you, they're also more intelligent than you. Those are the two factors that have compelled you to be used by them, with or without your knowledge. And if and when you decide to get sober from your addiction to power, though your past actions will never be forgotten, you will be forgiven. Tyrants, let's play imagination. For just a moment, let's live in the world where you actually succeeded in having complete control over everybody. Then what? How then would you further fuel your never-ending fiending for control? Perhaps the only next step is for you to begin cannibalizing each other for the last crumbs of control. But then what? You see, the game you're trying to play doesn't have a route to victory. it can only result in losing. That's because you've been trying to fulfill yourself in a way that offers no inherent fulfillment. That's why enough is never enough when it comes to control, and that's why you have lost. But have you ever asked yourself why you're playing the game of trying to assert control? I know your narrative answer is, we're here to protect people and help the world with what we're doing. Aside from that being pure propaganda, manufactured with the raw materials of deception, no one ever asked for your help. Plus, I'll leave you with this. You have lost the game that you're playing. A critical mass of humanity has awakened, and for the minority that is still asleep, the more you talk, the more you wake them up. We know that to be human is to be free, and the freedom-loving community of humanity is infinitely more powerful than you. We've taken our power back, and the strength of the warrior spirit will continue to work and grow our efforts to protect and preserve our freedom. Because one of the great lessons you've taught us is to never take our freedom for granted ever again. Tyrants, from all of us in the freedom-loving community, we wish you as people well. We also wish that you'll eventually allow yourself to also be free. God bless.